do the sharing. Okay.
5th of December, Rabbi Furst, Pierke Avos.
Okay. Good morning again, as Luke said. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here, Yeshiva Tamanavshi here in Yerushalayim Kerem Zoom. We're learning currently Pirkei Avos and the 5th parak. 10 things which have been created by Shmashas, plus a few extras we're going to see now. Okay, we are right here. If you see on the screen, I'll point it out for you. Right by the marking, as you see, right there, the Isle Shel Avraham Avinu. Anyone like to read this morning to begin with?
I would.
First of all, good morning, Rabbi Furst, and everybody else. I might have to leave because I'm not too sure because a plumber has come for a leaking roof.
All right. Thank you. Hope Hatzlacha with that.
Yeah, hopefully it gets cured.
Hatzlacha, Rabbi Roy.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. The Ilo Shel Avraham Avinu Ha'il Lo Ne'amar Nivra. Okay, what is this first word? Ilu?
That's the ram of Avinu.
Ah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
The ram of Abraham Avinu. This ram is not mentioned that it was created.
I think there's like a rhetorical question about Isle Lo Nimra Nemra. I mean, wasn't the Isle created? The Isle was created. There wasn't many rams existed before this ram.
Right.
So this was created already.
So, but she nigzar alav bein hashmash os she yiyeh nechaz besavach bekarniv.
Right, bekarnav, right,
bekarnav. Okay, so but shenigzar is that it's mentioned.
It was decreed upon it from a gezerah.
Oh, a gezerah. It was decreed upon it during Twilight that it would be I don't know these last three words.
That's from a pasuk. You have the if you have your Chumash Breshis nearby, maybe it's worthwhile taking a look at the
Okay.
It's in Parshas Vayera, and it'll be Perek Perek base, Perek 22. Perek 22, and we can start with Pasuk Yud. We'll get a running start. Chapter 22, Pasuk Yud, 22:10.
Avram stretched out his hand and took the knife to slaughter his son. And an angel of Hashem called to him from heaven and said, Avraham, Avraham. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Do not send forth your hand at the lad, nor do anything to him. For now I know that you are a God-fearing, and you are God-fearing, and you have not withheld your son, your only one, from me. And Abraham raised his eyes and saw, and behold, a ram, afterwards caught in a thicket by its horn. So Abraham went and took the ram and brought it up as an offering instead of his son.
Okay, that's good. So, so that's the pasuk which being quoted to us now.
Right. So what's when I'm looking for these words? Let's see. Nechaz. Here, Nechaz. Basvach Bikar Nav. Okay, so it was caught in a thicket by its horns.
Right. Right. So that's the. So we will have to discuss this a bit more. But it was caught in the thicket by its horns, and normally, the animals don't. That doesn't usually happen to a wild animal. They know very well not to to get caught in the thickets. Otherwise, they learn when they're very young they not to run into the thickets because they get caught. They could even break their necks. They get tangled up and twist their neck the wrong way, and then they're finished. Especially if they're being pursued by hunters and stuff. So the wild animals know very quickly, very early in their lives that not to get involved with the underbrush. And this isle apparently didn't follow instructions, didn't follow its natural instructions. And as he says now, as we say, he says, Nigzar lot. It was decreed upon it. Banish Moshe Shir Nechaz Esavak Bekarna. It was in Banish Moshe, it was a gezerah that it should be snared in the thicket by its horns.
Now it's interesting. Yesterday, when we were discussing the phenomena, the different phenomena, and the 10 versus the extra ones, in the course of that discussion, it was mentioned that in most cases it's a thing that's created,
Right.
and maybe that distinguished one group from another group. This is not a thing. This is a decree.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about myself as well. Very good, because the ram itself was something which was created already, but what happened to it was gozer. Now the question, and so that would obviously make a difference between the 10 primary items which were created, which are apparently actual things and have some real miraculous ingredient in them, as opposed to this according to this parish is it's simply a decree that it would get caught in its horns, which could, you could add you could add millions and millions of miracles that happen throughout the history of the universe. That things Hashem was gozer that should happen.
Right.
And so in this case, what's the uniqueness, right? What's the uniqueness of this event, of this occurrence?
Right. And also it doesn't seem to be such a significant thing. I mean, you said that it's unusual, but it's not extremely unusual. It's just a little bit unusual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's. Okay. Well, we're going to discuss more about that. We have to try and understand a little bit more the depth of what the miracle was here, and but let's see what's written here first. We'll discuss this a little bit more in detail soon. Let's continue on.
Lefi she haya hashtan wrote.
That's the Satan about the Yitzhak.
Oh, Hasatan. Rotze lehadirichu kedei sheyishchot es Yitzchak. Because that the Satan wanted lahavir ihu. I don't know that word.
From Boreach is to flee or to chase away. The Satan wanted to chase it away.
To chase away the ram.
Right.
In order that Yitzchak would have to be shechted.
Right.
V'zeh haya nes, and this is a miracle. V'lo matinu lo dugma b'maaseh bereshis, and we don't find for this an example in the 6 days.
Right.
Al kain nimna im elu hadvarim shenivrav bein hashmash os kamo pi ha'achod ha'aton. Therefore,
it's not right. Go ahead.
Therefore, what's nimna?
It's counted. It's enumerated along with the other things.
With these things that were created during Twilight, like the mouth of
Bilam's donkey.
the donkey.
Yes. Right. So let's it's making a similarity between this and the mouth of the donkey of Bilam. So how do we understand the comparison?
Shezeh v'zeh adayin lo nivra o. That this and this still were not created. Unagazar alehem, and it was decreed upon them ba'osa shah at this time, but at that time, the das yesh omrim, the knowledge that they would speak.
No, the das yesh according to the yesh omrim, the secondary opinion.
Oh, the opinion of those that say.
Yeah.
So the donkey's mouth already existed. It was happened was that it was decreed that the donkey would be able to speak. I get that. What is the comparison to the ram?
So
It was decreed that it would catch its head.
Okay, so let me explain. Let me explain as follows. So, just as the donkey, it was decreed that it should speak, which is something against its teva. The nature of a donkey is not to speak. Right. So here, the ram was decreed to do something against its teva. That I mean, if you could just try and picture the scene by the Acacia, you have. It's it's sort of on a high place, not the highest place, not a mountain peak. The Makam, it was the Makam. The Acadia took place at the Makam Mikdash. So Makam Mikdash is not the highest place, but it's still high. It's high in the mountains of here in Yerushalayim, and you have two men standing there. One's holding a fire pan, one's holding a knife, right? And it's very unusual that a wild animal should be interested in such a scene, right? Very, very strange that a wild animal, first thing that animals do, You don't have to be know the teva of animals, but from what the Mesil Shasharmi says, the Mesil Shasharmi says that an animal by teva, as soon as they sense any danger, they're off and running. They run in the opposite direction. Animals are not interested in dangerous situations. That's a big difference between human beings, by the way, and animals, right? Animals will not at all have any interest in dangerous situations, right? If you know anything about animals, you just walk down the street someday and there are little birds, pigeons on the street, and cats. Once they see and sense that you're coming there, they're hiding under the cars. They're flying away. They're not at all interested in getting close to someone who's bigger and stronger than them. Right? They're on the way to run or hide, and they're not interested in getting into any trouble. That's the first thing an animal does. Human beings, however, right, strangely enough, they're always looking for trouble. Right, Roy?
Roy is still with us.
Human beings are always looking for trouble. Look at all the things people do. Look at all the extreme sports people do. They're jumping out of airplanes. They're going down mountains on skis. They're looking for thrills. People are looking for thrills. People are out there in the African bush trying to take pictures or shoot animals, if they could still shoot them these days, unless it's outlawed. People are interested in getting a rush. They're interested in getting excitement in their lives. Life is not exciting enough for them, right? So we're always looking for trouble. The more dangerous the things are, the more people are interested in it. We're completely opposite to the nature of animals. That's because we have a Yetzer Hara that's pushing us in that direction, right? Even children. Why should a child be so interested in the electrical sockets in the house? So he's got a whole room of toys. The only thing he's interested in is the light socket, right? Crazy, no? Because that's the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara is interested in doing a person in, both physically and spiritually. So that's the Yetzer Hara, which is driving a person. But an animal by nature is going to flee from a situation of looking at the Akeda, two men, one with a knife, one with a fire pan, and the ram would not want to be 20 miles within such a scene like this. Here, this ram, miraculously so, because it was Gozer decreed that it should be there at the site of the Akeda. And not only that, it was rushing so forcefully into the scene of the Akeda to be there available for Avram to shecht it instead of Yitzchak, that it got entangled in its horns. And because that was the way that they the son wanted to have it to flee, so it wouldn't be available. And then maybe Rabbi Mabino would have second thoughts and actually shecht Yitzchak. So that's the miracle that took place here. So in a certain way, it's similar to the mouth of the donkey of Bilam, that the donkey existed, donkeys existed, that donkey existed, but Hashem was Gozer that something should happen to it, which is against the teva. So here also the Ayil existed, the Ayilim, the rams existed from the time of my species, but this one had a special gezerah that was, so to speak, placed in its nature at the time of the Benish Moshe's of Bereshis. So that's why the Yesh Omrim, it's not according to all opinions, but there's a dissenting opinion that says this should be included also. It's understood?
Okay.
Good. I guess we can. And usually, animals, as I said, animals. The Alter from the Bardic mentions in his sefer Madregas Adam that the nature of it's based on a medrash Chazal, that, for example, the medrash speaks about when the deer is being chased by hunters, right? So if it's in the meadows, in the open land of the meadows, so it's very vulnerable to the hunters which are chasing it. So the only hope that the deer has for escape is to run into the forests. But the deer knows through experience that if it's going to run fast through the forest, its antlers are going to be caught in the thickets and in the trees. So it has no choice but to break its antlers. So it breaks its antlers in the onset. When he goes into the forest, initially he breaks his antlers on the tree, and then without his antlers, he's free to rush through the thickets and the trees of the forest, and therefore he can escape from the hunters. But if he would not break his antlers, so he would be caught either by the hunters themselves, because he would go too slow in the forest, or if he would go too fast, he would crash and get stuck into the thickets and the trees by his antlers himself. So he has to break his antlers. So here, this isle also, what could have been naturally done if it was really definitely going to resist the sucking and run toward the cicada, it could have naturally broken its horns, but it didn't, and it got stuck instead. So that way, Avram Avinu had an easy time of getting hold of it.
Also, the ale was caught in the bush, so Satan couldn't chase it away.
Right. Exactly.
And
that's right.
So the ale was caught, and so was the donkey. The donkey was caught underneath Bilam. He was sitting on him, controlling him. The donkey wasn't very happy about that. So,
I guess he wasn't so happy about that.
No, he kept, he tried to signal Bilam that to take care with him.
Yeah, it was
anyway. So they were both caught, and they were both animals. They were both caught. They both had to do something that they wouldn't want to necessarily do.
Good. Okay. That was all through the gezeres of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Kadosh Baruch Hu decreed at the beginning of creation, or toward the end of the 6 days of creation, that this would be so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. Let's continue on.
V'yesh omrim af hat tzavas b'tzavas suye ze yesh omrim. Okay, so there are those who say even that I don't know what tzavas is.
Tzavas are I guess you call them tang. What would it be called? Tongs, or there's another word for it. Tongs. What else?
Palms?
Pincers?
Yeah, pincers, right? Something like that. You know, like this. I can show you.
Pincers with
probably got them in your kitchen. Let me find it.
Pincers with pincers? What is this double language?
I think he went to get something.
Oh. Okay.
And when you're reading, you're oblivious to the rest of the world here.
I am. I have to concentrate.
I get like that too.
Those are pincers.
Pincers, yeah, tongs. You know, when you're roasting your weenies, you need these for roast. How are you going to roast your weenies if you don't have these? You can burn your fingers, right?
Yeah, you sure would.
So you need these things, and they'll save your fingers. So who made the original ones? Right? They're made of metal. Like, you know, who put the original ones into the fire and forged them in order they should be able to make other things. So
other pincers.
Accurate.
So these are the pincers that you use to make pincers? That's the
Yeah.
double language?
Yeah, I think so. Right. The first pincers that made other pincers.
Right. And why does it say Yeshomrim again?
Zeyoshi, right? It's I think he's explaining. I think he's explaining it in the next sentence or two. He's going to explain why he's trying to explain why there's a Yeshomrim about this.
Okay.
Meaning why wasn't it included into the central 10?
Okay. So this Yeshomrim lo machmas Kabbalah. What?
Omer Kane, you have to finish the sentence.
Amar Kane.
Omer Kane.
Okay. So Ella Roye Nasan Ledevarav. It's not a Kabbalah.
Right. Meaning it's not Machmas Kabbalah. Meaning Machmas Kabbalah means a transmission from Rav to Talmud, ish mipi ish. Meaning it was a traditional Masorah tradition that was passed on from one generation to the next.
So it's not a transmission.
Right. That's what it's saying. You have to see what that means.
To say thus. Rather, it's proper that this was given.
No, Eloraya Nasan Debor, a proof was brought for their words, meaning the proof was brought for their words, meaning they're proving the point, meaning that if it was a Kabbalah, right, they wouldn't have to prove the point. But since it's not a Kabbalah, so they have to prove the point. So it was brought down, it was transmitted with a proof.
Okay. Who Shahanefesh Hanafach.
Hanafach is like the blacksmith, right? He's the blacksmith.
Oh, the blacksmith. Eno Yachol La Sos Malachto Ella Bit Savas Vehem Ha Melachim. The blacksmith is not able to make to do his work except with a pincer,
right?
And they Hamalachim, I don't know.
Hamalachim, I think it means it. Meaning it's in two pieces. It's not one piece. It's two. You need to have two pieces to have that to work. Have it. You can't make one. It's not simply a rod, right? It's something which is something which is made from two pieces, like a pair of scissors. Also, a pair of scissors made from two pieces. Right? It's not a razor. Razor is one blade, but the scissors is two blades. They have to be connected.
And it's translated as two items, two parts.
Yeah, right, right. Mechalakim. They're in their components or their pieces.
Utzavat ham. And what's that word?
That's the utzavatam. That's the machalekah utzavata. That's the That's the Targum. The Targum is Mechalech of component, Vitzavatim. That the Tzavatim is like component, it's components.
So the Targum translates it as two components.
Right.
The Im Kain Hatzavas Lo Naasis Ella Bitzavas. Therefore, the pincers cannot be made except with pincers.
Right.
V'otzavas, and these pincers, bitzavas acheres, with other pincers. V'ha rishona mi asai, and the first one, who made it?
Right. Who made the first thing? It's like asking the question, who took the first haircut? Who got the first haircut?
I don't get it. Who got the first haircut?
The first guy who had scissors, right?
Who ate the first egg? Bivadai ma'alei nashis biyadei shemayim. Certainly, it went up to be made by the hand of heaven.
These, I mean, I think Me'ela from these, these were made b'dei shemayim, they were made divinely.
Oh, these being the first set of pincers.
Right.
Certainly, these were made in heaven. The Efshar b'sheshes yemei bereshis, and it's impossible during the 6 days. Shelo nizkar ba beria. That it's not mentioned in the creation.
Right.
V'achar sheshes yemei bereshis efshar, and after the 6 days, it's impossible. Im kain, therefore, beruah isa biyadei shemayim. Therefore, it was created by the hand of heaven. Bein hashmas os, during twilight. V'chein amru b'perek mekom shenagu.
That's the name of a parak in Sachi. Right.
Okay, so thus it is stated in Psachim, perek mekom shenahagu. So it explicitly says there that the first pincer was created b'dei shemayim.
Yes.
Rabbi Yehuda Omer af hatzavas hu he Omer tzavas b'tzavasa mis vada. Rabbi Yehuda says even the pincers, it was stated the pincers with pincers were made.
Yep.
What's this mis avada?
They misavda. I mean, savasa. No, meaning the. He's telling you the you have to make pincers with pincers, right? That's number one. Pincers have to be made with pincers.
Right. Okay. Tavasa Kamisa,
Kemaisa, the original pincers.
the original pincers, Man Avda. What's Man?
Who made them?
Who made them? Ha bidei shemaim he. These were made by heaven. Kevan she havi roi shehi bidei shemaim. Since that it comes that we see that it is from the hand of heaven. Miyad nis.
Kevan Shavia Raya should be they since it was brought up Raya, a proof that it was Bidei Shemayim.
Miyad nisbarar lanu shehaisa bein hashmashos. Since he brought a proof that the tongues were made in heaven, it becomes clear. Nisbarar is clear.
Yes.
To us that it was during Twilight. I don't get that. Why does the fact that it's made Biyad Shemayim lead us to say that it's Ben Hashmashos?
That's what I think he explained in the toward the third line. He said, "Bevadai me'ela nasis b'dei shemayim." Definitely, these were made in b'dei shemayim. And he says here, "V'yevshar b'sheish shemei bereshis." It was impossible that they would be made during the 6 days of Bereshis. Shelo niskar b'ariya. They didn't. Their creation wasn't mentioned then. And after the Shemei Bereshis, it's impossible as well. So therefore, by default, it had to be made during Ben Hashmashos.
So everything that was created during the 6 days is mentioned?
If something, the way he's explaining all these different items, his basic premise is that these things are so unique that they would have to have been mentioned specifically.
But don't we have a principle that the Torah is not a storybook, that it's not a history book? We don't have to mention anything that's not that doesn't have some independent significance?
No, but even Chazal don't mention these things being made. Chazal could tell us a lot more than the Torah tells us, but even Chazal, we don't have any mention of anything in Torah about these things being created during the 6 days of creation.
But we also don't have any mention of them being created during Ben Hashmashos. So why would we? We're deducing that they're created Ben Hashmashos. Why don't we deduce that they're made during Sheshes Yemei Bereshis?
No, because it's something like these things, which are clearly different than the rest of the natural things created during Sheshes Yemei Bereshis. You have to have a special mention of them, either in Psukim or in Chazal.
Okay. All right. Kamo she perush shanu, as was explained above, I guess.
Right.
He's saying as I just explained it in line 3.
Right.
Ukavar chelko alav sham, and already, I'm sorry, after its portion was there, she'im ein lecha Kabbalah, that if there is not a transmission, ella mezos haraya haraaye, except for this proof, ein ze'es haraya micharas.
And Ukavar Nechukalav Shami in the Gemara and Psachim, there are those who argue about this. I mean, this statement that the pincers were made, the Shemayim, there are those who argue about it. She'im ein la Kabbalah elam izosaraya, that if it's only that you don't have a Kabbalah for this, it's only that you have a proof for it. Ein zos haraya muchrachas. It's not an ironclad proof. Meaning there are ways to dispute the proof. Let's see. Okay, I don't want to go. I want to wait. Let's wait till tomorrow to see how they go into the disproof. So we're here at the end of the bottom line, and maybe we'll take a break here, and we'll start running Hilchos Hanukkah in a few minutes. It's a sham.
Thank you, Rabbi.